So welcome to Simply Scrappy. It's Friday, May 10th, and today we are going to work through some Mother's Day layout. So I'm going to flip down. As I mentioned, I think the lighting is going to be weird for a minute. I'm hoping it'll go back. It's because of the sun coming in, which I'm not quite sure what to do about. My lighting is going to be a little bit off. So I'm hoping it's almost at the top of the trees. I'm hoping it will go behind the tree, and then it will balance out my light a little bit. So this is probably why I won't do any more Friday morning lives, because can't unless I know for sure it's going to be a cloudy day. So what came in the Mother's Day bundle? We had the 8x8 paper album kit, and then we had the shimmer papers, which were really pretty, and we had the layered embellishments. So you could only buy this as one set, but it was really cute. And I was like, well, what if we get it and turn it into 12 by 12 layout? So we're going to take apart this paper album, and we'll have the shimmer papers, and then we'll have to add in some cardstock for the bases. So I have 4 sheets of blue, 2 sheets of dark green. Of course, you can sub in any colors that work for you to do that. So the first step is to get everything opened, and then we're going to take apart the paper album kit. The shadows. It's not as dark in here as it appears. It's just like, then my phone is like, thinks the sunlight should be. So the first step, pull off the paper that comes with this. You can toss that. And then you're going to want to come open into the middle, and you're going to find the staples, and then find some tool that you have that has a flat edge. My Cricut spatula is probably one of the flattest things I have. If you want to get your nails in there, maybe you have a staple remover. You just got to pry that up a little bit. And then once you get one side up, you can come to the other side and get that staple out of there. Then work on the other side. We're going to cut the center kind of off. We'll cut on each side of it, so you don't have to worry too much about how it pulls out. Make sure you get those staples in the trash so you're not stepping on them or getting caught on things later. So then once you have your paper album kit, we're going to cut these apart. So I'm going to cut on each side of where the staples were. I'm not measuring, I'm just cutting right down each edge to get rid of that folded seam. And there are 3 sheets to go down. The outside is a little bit stiffer paper than the pages inside. That's totally fine. It's not going to impact. It's just a little bit more cardstock like. So we have those papers. That part's easy and done. If you were paying attention real quick, not that long ago, I did get the handout up on my blog. It will live there with the recording. So once this is recording, which isn't going to be the best one in the world, apparently, all of it will live together on the blog. So what we need for punches. So all of these can be substituted. I've picked out a couple of punches to work with. One of them being the ribbon wave, but you just want something that has a nice chain to it that works. And then I chose woven scallops, which is an edge style. And then a frame punch, if you want to play with that technique. This one is the spring leaves. So it is our most current one, but we've had several options along the way. And then later, when we get into one of them, we're going to use the circle punch, which of course you can use your custom cutting system if that's easier for you, if it's what you have. And then we'll have a little bit of embellishment. The embellishment I've been playing with too is the lace butterfly punch. This one is retired, so you'd have to get that from me on my website. Ribbon wave is retired. Woven scallops is advisor only, but the rest of them are available off Creative Memories website also. So those are the punches I have. Ooh. sitting over here in the wings. I'm going to kind of clear my space a little bit, and then we're going to do most of our punching and cutting to start, and then we'll piece together our layout. The one sheet I don't use in these layouts that you can use for mats or some other is the opal. I opted to kind of stay with the gold and orange, so I didn't end up using this one. So you can pull the opal out and set it somewhere where it won't get bent up. That's the challenging thing about the shimmers, is they are so light that they will kind of get bent up the more that they're moved around. So that leaves us 4 pieces that we're going to punch: the orange, the vista, the parakeet, and the gold. So currently, gold, I know I have to think, I have all of these in stock, but orange I think came back. Parakeet is how we just don't have vista in full. If you want to add in a little bit of paper, when I originally made my layouts that you saw the picture of, I had used an extra sheet of parakeet and orange. The handout and the layouts I'm making today just use one of each, but as we go through those layouts, I'll show you the options if you want to use 2 also. So we're going to start with, put my handout out here to keep me on track. So we're going to start with the gold shimmer and the ribbon wave. So this is the chain style. And I'm going to punch 2 ribbon waves. This one does offer a little bit of mess. I want to clear it off or punch it again. And then I need to punch 2 with the woven scallops of my gold. Because woven scallops is an edger, we have to trim this before we move on to punch the next one. And I'm going to trim it at 1.5. And then punch again. One and a half. The rest of this gold is going to be extra. You can use to punch butterflies later for embellishments or some mats. So just set this somewhere it won't get bent up. And then I'm going to grab my sheet of Vista Blue. And before I punch, I'm going to cut this into 3 sections. I'm going to cut 1.5 inches. And then 4.5. And that's going to leave me 6. And I'm going to punch one side each of these 2 larger pieces with woven scallops. If your little pieces get stuck in there, so make sure you clear it. before you move on. I feel like the shimmers, those papers want to get stuck a little easier. Then I'm going to punch the 6-inch piece. I'm going to leave it at that for now. We're going to cut more in one of the pieces of blue, but we'll save that for when we actually get to the layout. And then I need the orange shimmer. And we're going to punch 2 ends of this, so opposite ends. Flip it and just do the opposite side. It just saves me from cutting. I'm ready to finish cutting all of it. Okay, now I'm going to cut on my orange shimmer. So I'm going to cut off the borders from each side, and I'm going to just do 1 inch. Flip it around. And what that leaves me is about 9.5 inches. If you are substituting in a different edge, you might have a little bit less or a little bit more. But I'm gonna trim this way, and I'm gonna start with a 1.5 inch strip. But I want to pull in one of my decorative blades. So this is a nice chance to use one of our blades at the bottom. I have all of mine, including our new ones. I've been using the pinking blade. Any of them would work. I'm excited for the pinking. It's an edge I do enjoy. So I'm going to cut it 1.5. And then I'm going to cut the opposite side and flip it around. I'm just giving myself a pink edge. So you can usually use like the other dotted line will give you enough clearance to get the decorative edge. I'm going to flip back to my straight blade. And I'm going to cut this in half. So if you want to cut it in half, you can use a 0 ruler to see how big it is. You can extend your arm to see how much you have. I have about just a little less than 10.5. I'm at 10 3/8. So I'm going to, 10.5, half of that would be 5 1/4. And I'm just going to go just slightly shorter than that. So I know that I'm mostly down the center. And that's my orange piece. And then the piece not shown on the handout in the cutting guide was the parakeet shimmer. I need to punch 2 ribbon waves. If you're just joining me, you can see that the sun is joining us this morning also. One of the challenges of morning wise. And one more. Okay, so the next piece, we're going to punch the rest of this with our frame punch. So let me pause and show you. When I originally made this, I was at my retreat and went over and grabbed extra cardstock. I mean, the truth is, when I made these layouts, I didn't realize I was really going to use all of it. I thought I was just making a couple of examples of something to do. So my first one was a full sheet. So this is a 12 by 12 extra sheet of parakeet shimmer that I cut 2 sides on. Now, if you don't have parakeet shimmer in your stash, if you only have what came in this bundle, you only have 1 sheet, so you can't cut this full size or you won't have enough for your ribbon wave. So if you have an extra sheet and you want to get this full effect, just grab an extra sheet to punch. But we're gonna stick with what we have. So we're gonna punch 2 sides with our frame punch. So people sometimes get confused with the frame punches. So if I'm punching this as a border punch, if I want a border, I'm going to start in the front with the black line. For a frame punch, I'm going to start out here at the silver. So my first punch is going to have some extra sticking out there. And I'm just going to move along as I normally would, lining up on the design. All the way to the end. Clear your bottom. And now we need to punch the side where this is. So you can flip it upside down and over so that you have this straight piece coming out the edge here, lining up on the silver bar. Once you punch the first time, you're going to have the little green square pop out, and then you can continue down, punching off the edge as you normally would. And that's how you create the frame on the corner. If you mess up any of your punches, don't fear. You can always cover up strategically with your embellishments. But that gives us our frame and our ribbon wave. And that is the end of the cutting guide officially. But the first layout we're going to start with is using this piece. And we need a sheet of our dark blue cardstock. We do need to make a cut in it. I'm going to move my pieces over to the side. And I need to cut a section of blue out here. You don't have to do this if you have plenty of blue cardstock and you're not worried about conserving paper. But if you do want to preserve what's going to lay underneath that for mats, we're going to cut out an 8 by 10 section. So you could get out a binder clip. Mine have all ran off my table. I feel like I have so many of them and then they fly away. But this is pretty easy because we're just cutting out a corner. So I'm at 8 inches here. And then I'm looking at my ruler down the side here. I can see 10. If you had a binder clip, you could stop it there. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. This is going underneath. You could even start it down here about the 10 and push up. And then once you have that first cut, I'm just flipping it over. This is going to be 10 out here. And then I can just start down here, about where my line is. I can see where my line is and where the white line is, match up, and then cut up the top. So you don't really have to get your binder clips out to get this 8 by 10 section. So we're going to use this in another layout coming up for the circles, and you can use the rest for mats or decoration. So the piece I want right now is this piece. And we're going to create a paper, so a base. So you're going to adhere it so you're lining up your edges here and here. You can use your 13 by 13 mat also. I did get out one of my silicone mats for today, so I would be setting a good example. I'm going to put some tape across my leaves. And I'm just lining up here and here and adhere it down. And you can flip it over if you want some extra support. In your paper album, you got a whole 2 sheets of tape chips. And if you want a little bit of extra support, you can use some of those tape chips to give yourself a little bit of extra reinforcement on the back. I'm going to flip this over, and then the last piece to add in is one of the paper albums. So the paper albums, you want to find at least a couple of matches that you like, because we have 2 2-page layouts. I'll use those together. I'm using one of these on this layout. Although I don't think I used yellow anywhere. I'm going to use the one that has yellow on the back. Or you can flip any of these colors around. So your options for adhering this, I suggest just down here in the corner. You can decide where you want the white. I would suggest keeping it near one of the edges. When I did the full page, I did push it up to the right so you saw more of the green through here. You can choose the yellow if you like yellow. Adhere it down. And that gives you a nice page to add your photos, add extra mats. If you have extra paper, you can bring in any color. Because once you start pulling out your embellishments, you're going to see that they are mostly mixed. You're getting several colors on each. So it's going to tie together any of the papers that you use together. So I would suggest going through at the end and then just decorating your corners. And I'll show all of my little embellishments at the end. But that's page number 1, so pretty basic there. And I think I have us moving on to the one with all of the woven scallop sheets. So you should have orange. We have our 2 blue. And we have our 2 gold. For these space papers, I use dark green. You can use blue if you want to. I thought it would be fun to bring in some green. This is a 2-page layout. We start with the gold. So the gold's going to go on the outside, and then we'll have the orange. And then we'll have the blue. I have the shorter blue on the right side over here. So repro tape is your friend with these woven scallops. I'm going to line up my base paper on the mat. And I'm going to adhere this so the peaks of my woven scallops are about a quarter inch from the edge. I told you I haven't had any caffeine yet. I'm going to get the orange and I'm going to layer it just so it overlaps. And I'm going to see that gold popping through the orange scallops. I knew this was going to happen. I knew I was going to run out of tape. It's okay, I have another one waiting. If the stream is not coming through very clear for you, I am recording this through my OBS platform. So the recording that goes to YouTube should be clearer. Okay, I'm going to hear the blue on top of there. These are offset a little bit, just a little bit of variation. You can do whatever looks good to you for the layering. The gold shimmer is fun. A lot of us were excited when they brought the gold shimmer back. Bronze does have a gold tone to it, but it's just so much darker. The gold I think adds a lot of light to the layout. Again, I'm overlapping the orange so that it kind of covers up that seam of the gold. I see the gold coming through. And the blue, I'm looking at the bottom of the scallop, just making sure I have that covered as well. And then I need my pages. So these, I'm using the outside covers. They're the ones that are a little bit thicker. And one of them has the logo on the back. I'm orienting these so the white is towards the center. And I'm going to go about 1/2 inch from the edge, 1/2 inch from the bottom. And then I need that extra piece of blue cardstock, the 8x10 piece that we cut out. And we're going to cut out 8 circles. You should be able to get 5 on one side. So that's 8 of them. So lay out 4 of them first. The first one needs to cover up the logo. And you can determine the spacing that you like. Once you've fussed with that enough and you're happy with how those lay out, you can use that as a guide to adhere the other side. If you flip your other page upside down and they meet in the middle, you can get them pretty similar. Meet in the Middle is the name of the tournament Campbell's playing in today. Because Indiana is in the middle, which is so nice for us. We don't have to travel. So they have teams from Michigan, Ohio, Kentucky, usually St. Louis, Illinois. Okay, so that gives me my circles. And then this layout is also ready for the embellishments. So here are the samples I made. You can see once you add in some mats, it kind of pulls together all those layers. It doesn't look so empty. And then you can choose which of the layered embellishments you want. And then the butterfly punch is fun. This isn't adhered, but you can put it in the corners or behind a corner of the mat. And those embellishments really bring all of the colors together. And they do have a little bit of gloss to them, a little bit of shininess that plays off the shimmer. So that's the second set of layouts. For our third set, we're going back to blue. This is a 2-page layout also. It only shows 1 page on your handout. And we're going to use those wider orange pieces and our ribbons. And the light blue. I want to show you first though. So when I originally made this, like I said, I pulled an extra sheet of orange. And so the layout you originally saw online I used 2 big sheets. So I covered a big section of this. It's probably like a 10 by 11 piece in the middle. So I really got a lot of that orange in there. I didn't want to show that to you today because I'm not sure all of you have extra orange shimmer. So we're going to make it with our smaller pieces. Center my base paper back on here, and then I have one of the larger orange shimmer pieces. And I have my peeking edge towards the outside, and I'm going to orient this about 1/2 inch from the side and the bottom. Same for the other side. And then I have my paper that'll go here. And I have my ribbons. So I put the green on the outside. And you do get a little bit of a choice. You can decide if you want them the same or different. The way the ribbons punch, one of them has a little bit more of a neck, which I oriented towards the bottom. So you can orient them so that they're the same, or if you flip one or the other, it will offset slightly. I'm going to use my repo tape to adhere those. I'm going to adhere it pretty close to that pinking edge. And I'm going to adhere this. So the goal here is to create a layer. So I don't want this to be right on top of there or under it, kind of awkwardly near it. I want to make it look like I intentionally offset it so that for this, where I put this one, that's going to be about 3/4 inch up from the bottom, and maybe about 1/4 inch from the edge. You can kind of eyeball it. You know, the more you kind of spread it out a little bit, the more room you have in the middle to have your mats. On the other side, I just want to do the same. Bring it a little closer. There's the sun coming back. I already have that one adhered. I can do my ribbons. And then my paper. Just going to line it up kind of side by side. I can eyeball it so it's neck the same as that one. And that gives me this set. And so for embellishment, it's fun to punch the butterflies with the gold and tuck them in behind your paper pieces, or tuck in some of the layered flowers. And then you have room in the middle. You know, it kind of depends on how big your photos are. Trimming them, or even printing them a little bit smaller. You could fit 4x4s, 3.5x5. You know, you can obviously get 4x6s on there. Give you some space to decorate. And this was the one, like I said, too, with the larger orange. The one I made like this is hiding somewhere, but obviously it looks like this. Okay. And then our last layout, I still use blue. I was pretty fond of the blue. I think it plays off the orange really well. So these are the two versions that I've made. So if you have those 2 full sheets of orange, you might end up with fatter pieces. The measurements on this are not so important as much as we're just using up some of the pieces that were left. This is the version that it will look like if you cut as I did today. So what do we have left? We have this orange piece that has a pinking edge, the 1.5 inch. And we have this long strip of the Vista Blue. And we should have 1 paper page left. They get lost easily in your stacks of paper. So I need to play with this piece a little bit. So I'm going to get my trimmer back out. And I'm going to use my pinking blade again. And I'm going to cut around my edges with this pinking blade. This is just adding some texture. Anything we've done today, you could add in extra edges if you want. And then once I have all the edges, I'm going to cut this into 3 pieces. I'm going to do 2 inches, 4.5, and then it's about 5.5. The other thing that I did for this one is I cut down the paper album page with my pinking. So you could also do this on any of the layouts that you want. That textured edge, I just feel like goes a long way to adding some dimension to your page. And then you can just your base, and then orient your orange, near the edge. And then we have these 3 pieces that we're going to tuck behind. So if you have the handouts printed or you print them later, I did give you one photo to see kind of where I stuck those pieces. We're just strategically going so that they layer coming out from the paper album page. If you want, you can give the orange some other pinking edges. Maybe I'll give this bottom one. The top one kind of gets covered up. Once you kind of have them where you think you want them, see how your paper album page sits. And I am kind of trying to cluster this down in the corner. It just gives me more room for my photos and mats to come in later without covering up too much of what I've done. And once you know where you want them, I think the easiest thing to do is just to go around and kind of lift them up. Throw some shape underneath them. Get your orange one stuck under there. And then you can come in with some tape on your paper. And any intersection is an opportunity to layer. Looking for the pieces I've already punched in. So you should have extra gold, extra blue. You have the entire sheet of opal. But this is where you can have fun and pull in some layering embellishments. And like I said, you can layer, behind the corners, at the junctions. The Mother's Day bundle is $26. It comes with the shimmers, the paper album, and the 2 sets of layered embellishments. You do have to purchase the cardstock separately for your base or go through your stash and just see what would coordinate. It's an easy technique to use with any paper album. So if you have a paper album, the nice thing that I liked, even they remind me of the Fast to Fab pages, that you got some neutrals that didn't always come in the collections. So it adds even a whole nother layer of color to the paper. I like the solid cardstock base. It's kind of a throwback to the way I used to scrapbook on cardstock. And then, like I said, it's cute to add these now, or you can wait until you have your photos and really where your extra spaces are that you can come through and layer some of the extras. Tuck the flowers around the butterflies and whatnot. So that gives you two-page layouts and 2 single-page layouts that uses up all of the paper album pages. If you wanted to extend these singles into doubles, you could cut the 8x8 in half and have 2 4x8 pieces, and then throw one over, pull out other scraps of your shimmers or whatnot. So just a fun way to use up some of those paper albums. Maybe you like to buy everything. Maybe you're an advisor and you just have some left in your stash. Is a good way and to get rid of them. Like I said, the handout is on the blog post. The recording will come up on YouTube probably later this afternoon when I get back. And like I said, I don't think this streamed in the best quality, which I need to figure out, but I'm recording it separately, so the recording should be better if you want to go back and find that one later. So do you have any questions or anything? Obviously, they're pretty basic layouts. You can substitute any punch, just a way to kind of use what you have. The handouts are on my blog, tessascrapbooks.com. The blog post, like I said, later today. Once it's YouTube, I will attach the video link will be in there also, so it's all free. You can, I think Creative Memories still has the Mother's Day bundle and Last Chance. You can grab it there, or you can also get it on my website. I also have the butterfly and woven scallops and ribbon wave if you're interested in any of those. So thanks for all joining me this morning. I apologize again. I think the sun finally got above the tree, so it's 11 o'clock. I just have to be sure I stream after 11, I guess, if I do it, although it's going to start coming up earlier in the day. So maybe like in June or something it will be. But happy Mother's Day to all of you. I know that is a bittersweet holiday for some who have lost their mothers or lost some children. It can be a tough time to kind of focus on all the blessings or the happy memories that we do have. I am grateful for my kids. Look at me getting emotional. It is... Gee, I didn't expect this one coming. Good Lord. Can we cut this out at the end? I am grateful for all of you. Because of all of you and the support I've had for this business, I can be very present right now with my kids, which has been very important to me through these teenage and college years. So I don't know where the tears came from, but happy Mother's Day to all of you. And hopefully you have some scrappy memories you can scrap with these. So next Friday, we will be doing Simply Scrappy with a secret box layout. So the secret box, we can't talk about yet because it opens tonight in the virtual crop. I don't usually follow the virtual crop, but they'll open it, and Noreen probably makes them. I'm not totally sure what they do, but I always make them later on my own. So next Friday, if you have the secret box, I will go through the project handout that comes with the box during Scrappy, and we will be back at 1 o'clock, so we won't have to worry about the sun, and hopefully I can figure out the streaming, why it's not coming through as fast as it should. So happy Mother's Day to all of you, and I'll see you next week. So see y'all later. Bye.